want us to look at the origin of the belief in God. What made Africans to believe that there is a supreme being? What forced Africans to believe that there is God who is above all gods? We want to appreciate the origin of the belief of God today. The belief in God. Although African religion does not have holy books, African people developed a belief that in God long time ago, before even the coming of the modern religions in Africa and their beliefs. So we want to see what made Africans to believe that there is God, and the following are the reasons to why Africans, these are the following factors that made Africans to develop that feeling that there is God. By reflecting on the environment such as mountains, valleys, rivers, lakes, forests, etc. They wondered where all of these originated from, yet nobody made them. So Africans, after looking at the mountains, the forests, the rivers, the valleys, the lakes, they asked themselves, who created them? If it is not God, then who created them? So they wondered where these things came from. So because of their wondering, and they had no answer, they had to make conclusion that they were created by God. So after them observing and examining nature, Africans finally concluded and said, now there is a supreme being who created this. Because they don't know where the lakes came from. They don't know where water came from. No one knows where forest came from. No one can tell where the valleys came from and where the mountains came from. So Africans believed, and they believed that there is God after reflecting on the environment. Look at the mountains, the lakes and rivers, forests and etc. They wondered where all these things, all these creatures came from. Where did they originate from? So they believe that there is a very divine power on top which is responsible for the creation of all this. 2. Africans believe how they started to believe in God, or to believe that there is God, after looking at the forces of nature, which at times occurred, such as earthquake, we have the hailstorms, very many others. We have earthquake, we have floods, we have storms, droughts, among others. Such catastrophes also made Africans to believe that there is God. He is the one who caused all of this. So at times these things could occur in the society, yet no human being knew where they originate from. You could from out of the blue see drought. Out of the blue, earthquake comes. Out of the blue, the storm comes. Out of the blue, you see heavy rain causing floods. But you can't tell that it is caused by a human being. So Africans believe that there is God after examining and looking at the forces of nature. What brings earthquake? Is there anyone who has ever made a call to call earthquake to come? No, it is God that brings disasters. It is God that takes away the disasters. So it is Him controlling the entire universe. Another one, the change of seasons. Africans believe or realize that seasons usually changed as a result of God's will. It could rain as it is now in November, and it could shine. So no one knows where that switch is to change it to rainy, then from rainy to windy, then from windy to sunny, like that. So Africans, after looking at the changes in the seasons, they observed and concluded that there is God who is responsible for that. The concept of the day and night, whereby people realize that for some hours it could be daytime, and for the whole environment was very clear. But after some time, it changed to darkness. No one knows where that thing changes from. Though science has tried to explain it in its own way, that the earth rotates and blah blah. But people in Africa, they didn't know that there is a science. No one could convince them that it's why the earth rotates. For them, they were just wondering, how can a day comes when it is light, then it changes to night, when even someone cannot see. From nowhere the moon appears as if it is daytime. From nowhere you see the sky is bright. From nowhere you see clouds calling for rain. So those things made Africans to conclude that there is a supreme being. The appearance of calamities such as floods, landslides, and etc. also proved to Africans that there is God who decides anything that he wants. Who knows? Who has ever tried to go and check what causes the landslides in Bududa, that is in Bali? No one knows. But from nowhere you see landslides. Nowhere you see floods. No one calls for them. But Africans concluded after witnessing and examining that there is a God who causes all this. So there is a need for him to be worshipped and praised and even honored. We have the concept of life. People reflect on life such as a way human beings are formed. No one knows how a man came into existence, though the Bible tries to explain. Women interact with men. From that intercourse, sexual intercourse, they give birth to something which they also don't know how it forms. So no one can explain how the baby stays in the mother's womb, breathes, and then it comes out. No one knows where the air we breathe in comes from. If it was like that, like this, that every morning you wake up, you have to pay for that air that you breathe in, the oxygen you take in. If we were to pay for it, many of us wouldn't have been even alive, because you can't pay every day. But no one knows where the oxygen comes from. So Africans, after looking at all such things, they conclude and says, now there is God. By reflecting on the universe, Africans reflected on the universe, and they saw the moon, the star, the sun, all of which were operating in an amazing way, yet they were not made by human beings. No one tells the sun that comes out, you come out. No one tells the sun to come out. No one orders the sun to come out. No one orders the moon to come out at night. No one orders the stars to come and then disappear. So we can't tell whether tomorrow it will shine or it will rain. But it is God to decide. That's why people working on the weather casting service and etc., they say, they also think that it will happen. They can say tomorrow it rains in Kampala, then it shines, because they are not gods. Even machines cannot foretell the future. So Africans, after looking at all those things, they concluded and they said, there is God who must be respected, honored, and then praised. What are the reasons why Africans developed the feeling that there is no God? Well, as other religions emphasize that there is God, but Africans still doubt that there is no God. So the following are the factors that have pushed many Africans to think that there is no God. One, God being invisible. So many Africans believe that God is not there because God is invisible. You can't touch him, you can't see him, you don't know where he sleeps, you can't visit him, but we just have a belief that God is there. So people just believe that God is there. So that thing has made many Africans to doubt whether God is there. Is it true that God is a man? Is it true that God is a woman? So Africans doubt God's existence because he is invisible. You can't touch him. You can't see him. Even people believe that he talks to them, but no one has ever even witnessed that God is there. Let it be a religious leader. So Africans doubt the existence of God because they see that God is invisible. We can't see and we can't even feel his presence. Another one, God usually takes long to answer people's prayer. God is delayed to answer people's prayer. It makes people to doubt. Someone prays from January to December asking for one thing. Again he goes into another year asking the same thing. God doesn't answer. So that gives people a room to doubt whether he is there. It gives people a room to doubt whether he is working or is existing. So his delay to answer people's prayer has also led people to doubt whether he's there. In society, many times the evil people such as corrupt, thieves, robbers and murderers, etc. are successful. Someone comes to your house, steals something, but when he's stealing, when that person is coming to steal, he asks God, please help me when I'm breaking this person's door, they don't get me. Someone comes to your house and prays to God, when I'm going to this person's house, please guide me so that I'm not caught. And at the end of the day, this person is not caught. Then people doubt whether God is serving the wrongdoers. So whether God is a part of the people that makes others to be suffering. So they doubt because even God favors those who are lawbreakers or criminals. Another one, are the many problems people get in their lives. For example, wars, accidents, sickness and poverty. Some people, when they are facing poverty, when they are under sickness, someone who is like healed, someone has lost the important person in his or her life, people start to doubt why. Whether God is there, someone cries, God, why is it me? Someone even calls and says, God, are you really there? Why is it happening on me? Why is it happening to my family? Why is it happening to our society? Why is it happening to my father, my mother, and my family, and etc.? So the problems that people face in the society makes them to think that God is not there. Someone plants a bigger plantation, like maize plantation. It comes up when someone even failed to yield a quarter of what he planted. At the end of the day, someone will doubt, is God there? He saw me when I was doing this. Still at the end of the day, I failed to yield what I planned for. God's miracles are too rare. Sometimes, actually, it is very rare to see miracles from God. So some people have embarked on worshipping evils because for them they perform miracles and they are common. So that's why even if you go to some religious groups, you go to some places of worship, you go to some churches, some mosques, people have embarked to witchcraft because they want to pull people's attention and they hide behind God. So people have doubted whether God is there because of his rare miracles before the people in the society. God's delay and failure or refusal to punish evil people such as murderers, thieves, robbers and corrupt people. God has failed to punish them. He keeps them. Actually, at times people believe that wrongdoers even last. Like the people who practice witchcraft, they take long to die. Someone can be there for 80, 100 years, but a person who is behaving well dies faster. So that thing has made many people in traditional Africa to doubt whether God is there. There are failures in some things, like someone is unemployed. People don't have work. Still at the end of the day they question whether God is there. For example, in the modern world, someone studies, goes for bachelor's degree, master's degree, doctorate, and at the end of the day someone doesn't have a job. At the end of the day someone will ask, is God there? He saw me when I was studying. He didn't even tell me that please leave this and this and this and go to another thing. Others studied and they failed to get what they studied before. So those are some of the factors that have made people to doubt whether God is there in African traditional society. I want us in this area to look at the attributes of God. Who is God according to African traditional religion? I want us to know the nature of God according to African traditional religion. But for us to know the nature of God, someone to know the nature of God, you have to be knowing what things has God done for you or for the society. So we say that God is omnipotent. The word omnipotent carries the meaning of powerful. So we want to say that God is powerful in African traditional religion. Africans took God to be powerful because of the powerful things he did for the society. For example, if you experience like earthquake, like floods and etc., you can't say that these things are done by someone who is not omnipotent. So God is omnipotent, is a powerful, is a strong being. In African traditional society or religion, Africans believe that God is omnipotent, is powerful. Another one, God is omniscient. God is omnipotent, is omnipresent, is omniscient. Omniscient means is all-knowing. He knows what will happen tomorrow. He knows what will happen in the future. He knew what happened yesterday even before you, a human being, got to know about it. So still they believe that God is the creator because he's the one who created the universe. It is not a human being that created the earth. It's not a human being that created the moon. It's not a human being that created the lakes, rivers, and valleys, and etc. So Africans believe that God is the creator of everything. Therefore, whatever thing we do, whatever thing we go through, whatever thing we see, it is under God's protection or under God's hand. We say God is personal. He's a personal God. God is the author of personhood. He created the universe. He can't be less than person himself. Thus, the experience relationship with other persons. So God is personal. He does everything. Actually, his work is personal. You can't even blame him over something. He's a provider. He provides for the people. He's a father. He's the creator. He's omnipresent. He's omnipotent. So omnipresent means God is everywhere. Omnipresent. He is everywhere. That's why if you're committing a sin, thinking that no one is seeing you, just keep it in mind that God is watching you. That's why we do things at night, but they are exposed during the broad daylight. So God is omnipresent. He's everywhere, be it in light or darkness. So whenever you go, just know God is around you. So Africans believe that God is everywhere. God is morally upright, is morally perfect. God is morally perfect. In nature, God is morally perfect. You can't say that God is not morally upright. Yet is the author of morals. So God is everywhere. Is a loving God. Is a caretaker. He loves whatever he created. God has no limitation. His life doesn't have an end and doesn't have a beginning. We don't know where God started from. Actually, we don't know his nature. Is God a man? Is a woman? So no one can tell. So the nature of God, according to African tradition or religion, God is everywhere. That's why Africans, for them, they believe that whenever you go, there is God. That's why you could find them. Someone kneels below the tree, under the tree. Someone goes in their caves. Someone goes. Some people set up shrines. Others, people thought that these people are worshiping trees, but they are not worshiping trees. They thought that whenever they go, God is there. So if you find someone when he had knelt down under the tree, missionaries thought that Africans were worshiping the tree, but Africans were trying to acknowledge the presence of God. So God is everywhere. So that is the nature of God. Those are the attributes of Africans in line with God. So God is everywhere. He's omnipotent. He can make the visible invisible. He can make things which cannot happen to happen. He can make the poor rich, and he can make the rich poor. So he has all that authority to do whatever he wants. So that is the nature of God according to the African traditional religious setting.